FujiX100 is one of the recent success stories in the world of photography, with its retro cool looks and the viewfinder, which is refreshing to use. It's got all these fancy dials, which reminds one of the old film camera days. And it's also led people to label this as a mini, baby, little Leica. But the question is it right to liken this to the LeicaM9? Yeah, so we've come out today to take a look at the X100 to see how it compares to the LeicaM9. Unfortunately, I didn't bring an umbrella and it is raining quite a bit, so I've got a plastic bag to put over me. This is ridiculous. I'm not being funny, but how does... Oh, blimey. It's worse than putting a condom on. There we go. Now we're ready to go and shoot. Oh, great. Bollocks. Need to switch on first. Oh, Christ. This is shit. This is shit. What's the point of having a raincoat if the hat... Oh, stop doing that. Last time I reviewed the Fujifilm X100, I enjoyed shooting with it a lot, even though it's not perfect. It's proven to be a bit of a hit too. But contentment is never easy, especially when comparisons can be made to other cameras, which is why people often compare the X100 to the M9, which is what we went out to do. But then the weather decided to throw a bit of a tantrum. This X100 is owned by one of our colleagues. He loves it very much, so I took it out to see how it handles in the rain. Well, much better than lock handles things in the rain. Well, it is kind of understandable that people compare this to the LeicaM9 because this has all the dials and stuff like that, the old aperture. This is ridiculous! Anyway, after the rain stopped being such a petulant arse, I managed to get into the mood for shooting. The FujiX100 is one of the most exciting camera releases of recent times. It tantalised everybody with its interesting blend of old meets new. Well, of course, Leica's been doing this old and new thing for a very long time with the M8, M8.2, the M9, and of course, M9P. I like this M9 because it comes with its very own assistant. Let's go shoot. You're not very good at holding umbrella, are you?
Because I'm short.
Yeah. All over the place. All over the place. Right, let's, But the most important thing is that this still keeps the characteristics of the M that's proven so successful for over 50 years. Come on, assistant, let's go. This advert was brought to you by... She doesn't feel safe enough with one raincoat, just have an umbrella. It's like wearing two condoms. But of course there's a big difference in price between this and the M9. With the price difference you can get loads of rolls of Fuji Velvia. But I don't know why you'd do that because this is a digital camera. But you can replicate Fuji Velvia with this, so that's pretty good. But you certainly get what you pay for with the Leica M. This, in terms of build quality, is worlds apart from the X100. This is carved out of brass and so solid. A nice camera body isn't everything, but holding something like the M in your hands, it's classy stuff. But there's something about the looks of the FujiX100 that's not quite right. I mean, you have to give Fuji credit for trying with this kind of retro cool look. But there's something about it that doesn't quite gel.
The switches and twiddly bits are purposely made to look like an old film camera, but on the back they haven't really bothered keeping it tidy. Button overdose.
Oh, great. You know, we could be inside having a nice hot coffee, but no, we're making a video. Let's go over there. Yeah, there's one amazing thing about weather like this is that you don't see it like this. It's usually packed full of tourists and there's lots of things going on and it's almost dead. It's kind of eerie. Standing by the harbour, having a fag.
The M9 is not just a case of beauty without a purpose. It's no airheaded supermodel.
This is a full-frame camera. If sensors could have stomachs, this would eat the Fuji sensor for breakfast.
Nom 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 nom. But apart from the size issue, it also does away with things that get in the way of the light, such as anti-aliasing filters, thus improving image clarity. When you team that up with the fabulous Leica lenses, that is a recipe for sexy time sharpness.
And that's where the FujiX100 gets stuck in the mud. Because you can't actually change your lens. You're stuck with this 35mm lens. Well, I say 35mm lens, but this 35mm lens isn't actually a 35mm lens, if you get what I mean.
The focal length is 23mm, so you will get more depth of field even at the same aperture. I was never really impressed with the performance of this lens wide open.
And the thing is, when it's shot wide open, this lens isn't exactly sharp. It's a little bit soft actually. God.
Tired.
You're tired?
It's so steep.
It is incredibly hard work, isn't it, carrying umbrellas? You
No,
see,
I mean, this,
you can't actually see it, but Log is carrying a camera and an umbrella, so
I've got a camera bag.
you're fortunate.
Of course, one of the big factors for owning a Leica is to make use of those fantastic Leica lenses, from present day to way back. But there's more to it.
As I've mentioned before, it's all about the feel of using the Leica M, using that rangefinder to focus, setting the aperture and the shutter speed to get that shot.
You get a certain affinity to the camera from using it to shoot.
But you see, the X100 also has the aperture settings on the lens here and shutter speed dial, just like the Leica. And of course, it's got that viewfinder, which actually has more information in it. I mean, with the FujiX100 you can see the aperture, the ISO, and the shutter speed, as well as the exposure compensation. So you don't actually need to take your eye away from the viewfinder to change the settings, which is great. Then of course the frame lines change depending on how close your subject is when you half click it. And you see the little switch here? This, flick that, and you get an electronic viewfinder, which is alright. I mean, you get to see exactly what you're going to get. But the trouble is, it's like looking at a mini television inside there of what the composition is going to be. And when you're in electronic view mode and you half click it, it kind of pauses for a brief moment and you still get the viewfinder blackout, so what's the point of that? Then you've got some fun features like motion panorama. Well, that wasn't very straight. Of course, the biggest and most obvious function is that it's got autofocus, which people kind of expect in these kind of times. But it's not exactly the fastest in terms of autofocus speed. But at least it works, especially as manual focusing on this is a complete pain in the bottom. It's like having a spike up your bottom. Well, of course, with the M9, it's all manual focusing. You focus, so it's your fault if you get it wrong. And sometimes it can be a fight between your fingers and your eyes to try and tap the focus.
But your fingers, eyes and brain have to work together to get that shot, and it makes the whole process immensely rewarding. There are no cutesy features like motion panorama because it simply is not that kind of camera. That also makes going through the menu system a lot simpler.
No, like, I've just come back for 3 weeks from Canada,
Yeah.
and we have a university photo club. And
Hey.
we always watch your videos during the clubs. It makes us laugh so much. And like, I was like, I hope I run into him. And I guess
And here
I
we
did.
are.
Yeah.
Your lucky day.
Yeah.
Can I have your picture?
Sure.
Yeah. It's right for you in the video.
I don't mind.
Yeah. Nice smile. Right.
They are two cameras with big differences, yet they are often used in tenuous similes that usually involve the FujiX100 being likened as a poor man's Leica. They are not the same thing. The X100 is ever so much fun to use, with a wonderful viewfinder and virtually silent shutter that makes shooting on the street so convenient. And it's good that such a camera exists to get people into street photography. But for me, it can't mimic the rewardingly raw feel of using something like the M. It's somewhat spiritual. Apart from the images and those lenses, the Leica M photographic process is such a pleasure. If you think that you're getting Leica-like action with the X100, then you'll never be content until you get a Leica.